saw your interview with that gentleman in
Oh,
Barbados.
Vic Fernand.
Yes. That's Vic Finance?
Yes. Yeah. Can you
Stop it.
imagine? He's still at it. Yeah, that's Vic, man. That's our boy.
Wow. That's awesome. And you talked about um, taking a chance on yourself.
Yeah.
And it hit me in my core. And you're the
Hmm.
reason that started this show back. Welcome back to another episode of Rosie Talks Life. I'm your hostess with the mostest. Okay, Rosie. Thank you for joining me again. We have another exciting episode for you. Today we're going to do it a little differently. We have a panel of ladies with us, and we're going to talk about life. And I named this one Fierce, Fabulous, and Fearless. And I picked these ladies purposefully because they bring the heat in my life in different forms. And I figured, let me share them with you. Anyway, before I start that segment, I just always like to share little nuggets of life and things that I have learned from myself. And I was just speaking actually with a few people in the audience just now, and it kind of lines up with what I'm about to talk about: protecting your spirit. Protecting your spirit. In this life, we deal with all sorts of people who inspire us, people who annoy us, people who make us consider jail as an option. Sorry. But in general, there are all types of people in this life. And we are all different types of personality receiving that energy. So some people have the ability to just walk away and go, whatever. Some people start counting back 10, 9, 8. She better walk away. 7, 6. She's still standing here, meaning I'm going to knock you out. And then there are some people who are just, they'll choose violence right off the top. So my issue is you have to learn how to manage and protect your spirit. You know, one of the things I want to mention is that in protecting your spirit, first and always lead with kindness. Start off with that. Don't go to violence. Start with kindness. I know when I sometimes go to a meeting or into a situation that I'm unsure about, I am a believer of God. That is who gives me salvation and hope. Other people have other things that they do. They meditate. And that's all well and good. But I'm talking about centering your soul before you go into a situation. Always recognize that you never know what's on the other side of the door waiting you. Protect and cover yourself. Always know that people, sometimes intentionally or unintentionally, are coming for you. In this world, we have people who are yellers and screamers, and they feel because they yell and scream, they're the ones that are making the most change. When in fact, I'm unimpressed by that, because that means all you know is to yell and scream. And when people start yelling and screaming at me, I start dropping my voice an octave. And it goes lower and lower until you think either, she's odd, but then all of a sudden you realize the energy is not there. I'm not matching your energy. Recognize where you are in the moment of conflict. If you have an opportunity to walk away, do so. Don't stay and engage. What's the point? If you can't walk away, sometimes silence is golden. It's not worth it. But you have so many choices in this life that you can protect your spirit, understand where you are and maybe the role you play to maybe change a circumstance in that moment. But at the end of the day, I say to you, lead with kindness. It doesn't make you soft, it doesn't make you someone who can be rode over. No. I'm going to tell you something. My husband is a very laid back man. And I know many people, when they meet us as a couple, goes, Oh, poor man, he's with that woman. She's so loud and she's so. But he leads with integrity, with purpose. He doesn't have to say much. You understand? Because he knows where he stands, and I am quite quite happy following because I understand his intention and his purpose. Not everyone is a yeller and a screamer. So pick your place in life. Lead with integrity, lead with kindness. Sometimes somebody, the most arrogant and miserable people, need a little love. Sometimes it's a smile, a touch, a nod. You may change the life of someone that day. Cover yourself, protect your spirit. We'll be right back to a little bit more of Rosie Talks Life because I have my fierce, fabulous, and fearless crew here with me. We'll be right back. So tell me, I remember when, tell me if you remember, when we were kids, the phrase or saying, children should be seen and not heard. You remember? So when you go out with your parents, your grandparents, your aunts, whoever, and they get into these conversations and you are in the vicinity, you knew that you were not, don't even try breathing. Just be still and pretend you're not there. And of course, for those of us who didn't get the memo quite early and would start to interject, no, that's not what she said. Boop, they hit you. Do you remember? I remember when children were seen and not heard. Not like these new brand picnic here that going through this life and have they have like things to add to conversations and they have receipts. We would have dead. Let me rephrase that. We would be unalived. I remember when. Welcome back, and we are here with my panel. You'll see them in a quick moment, or you might be seeing them now. This is, look at my ladies. Wow, wow. Thank you all for being here.
Our
Oh,
pleasure.
there you go. And this segment I called Fairs, Fabulous, and Fearless. And we're going to find out why in a second. So first, let me do quick introductions. I'll start here. So this is my friend, Tanika. I call her Nikki. I met Nikki at 18 years old. She had 2 jobs and was in high school. I'll get back to her. She's a wonderful mother and wife and HR. She is in HR in corporate America and she does her thing. Fierce. Ah, lovely lady. And I'm going to shock and rock your world right now. Pastor Annette. She is my past minister. But she is, I mean, an awesome, awesome lady. Background in health management and other things, but she was the minister at my church. And when I tell you she'd bring the heat on the pulpit, some people weren't ready. So that's Pastor Annette. And last but definitely not least is my first friend, Miss Margaret. She just went into the world of retirement. She don't look it, but she retired as a director at the top of her game in a very big corporate company. I want to say, I don't want to say, but she mentor, manager, director, really confidant, someone who has molded many careers in her lifetime. But we're going to get to that. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's get into it, shall we? So, now because you ladies are packaged so well and you appear to have it all together, the outside world, how do you, in these times of anxiety and so much uncertainties, motivate yourself on a daily basis? I'm going to start with you.
Great.
Yes, sure.
Well, Anxiety is one of those things that looms over people, and it can become intrusive in every way, shape, and form. And we don't happen to live in a world that helps anxiety. So for me, the first thing I do is meditate. If I am not centered in myself, I cannot do anything else. And that for me has been learning to breathe and listening to my breath. How am I breathing in this moment? What is happening around me? What can I control? What can I not control? And how can I breathe through it?
All right. So, Margaret, same question.
That is a very difficult question for me, in that I didn't identify some things that were happening to me as anxiety. I thought I was just like on edge or unsettled.
Right.
And then I saw the more that anxiety took place in my life, I realized that you have to get a hold of this.
Absolutely.
Because it leads to other things, right? And so the first thing I do when I get anxious, anyone who knows me, my music is blasting. To the point where my granddaughter calls my little remote, my little speaker boxes, hallelujah. She said, "You're gonna play hallelujah?" Because every time I get that little box, I turn up my gyre or whatever song it is to just kind of get me in the mood of praise. So when I'm anxious, I know that something is stirring, something has happened. I'm gonna get very joyful in the midst of my anxiety, and it just kind of dissipates.
Same here. I manage so many aspects of my life that I have to learn how to organize myself.
Absolutely.
And organize my time.
Right.
So my time is precious to me. So I cultivate that, right? I carve out space for myself.
Very
so that,
important.
I could be the best me to be the best for someone else. If I don't do that, I use it through prayer, I love to read, right? But I love music as well. And I use all of those, but I need my space, right? So my circle knows that the best way for me to deal with my anxiety is to just take myself out of the moment.
I think Margaret also hit on something that sometimes we don't even realize it's anxiety. We don't know what it is, but it is anxiety. And being able to learn yourself, and both of you, meditation and also pulling yourself away, important. Can't say that enough. So, there's this phrase about queens should be there to help straighten each other's crown. That it sounds nice when you scroll, like, oh yeah, straighten your crown, yeah. But how do we as women, prepare ourselves for those people who we think are in our corners that are actively trying to knock those crowns off your head? I mean, how do you handle that?
They have a place. They have a place.
Is it in hell? Sorry, because it seemed like they're already there in that condo.
Yes,
Yeah.
but if they weren't a part of my circle,
Right.
if you will, or in my space, I wouldn't know how to appreciate the good in my space. So they have a role, is what I'm trying to say. They have a role. So you have to respect their role. And once you identify their role, you're able to identify your response.
You speak like a chess player, like you're identifying all of the players on your board.
Yes.
So let me ask.
I'm much more emotional.
No, that's fair.
I wish I could control myself in that way, but I find it difficult when there's a challenging person in my circle, mostly because I think of life as an energy exchange.
Correct.
And so when I'm exchanging energy with someone who's either using their energy to try to pin me to the ground or make me feel worthless, it feels so overwhelming. And so for me, it comes down to, like, again, remembering to breathe and remembering.
Is it fight or flight? You know what I'm saying? Do
You
you
know,
feel cornered?
It's not fight or flight for me. It's freeze and fawn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so when I am put up against, and that comes from trauma, from childhood trauma, never learning how to communicate appropriately. And I'm in my 30s and it's still challenging,
Correct.
but I have seen myself develop and evolve in ways where I can handle it differently. But freezing or fawning just means that I have to stop, or I physically cannot respond when I'm in an anxious situation. And so once I'm removed from it is when I can actually properly analyze it.
Okay, so you see, and that applies to someone who maybe is a friend, because I'm really thinking about someone who is close enough to knock my crown off is someone that I thought in my circle to be a friend, not an enemy. So Margaret, have you had that?
Yeah, most recently. Yeah, I've had that. And over the years, I've seen some friends who've become foes.
Yes.
Without knowing exactly why or what happened.
Say the word. Let's not be diplomatic here. Say why. Say why.
And I've learned that a big part of it is jealousy.
I was waiting for the word.
A big part of it. And I'm a person that people gravitate towards for different reasons, and I invite them in. So I'm very inviting. And when I call you a friend, I mean you're a friend until the end. But the minute I find out that you're not with me, I've become very bold. And this hasn't happened overnight. I've become very bold. For this year, my word, every year I choose a word. And this year, my word is bold. And what I do is I call it out. I said, I don't know how this is going to sound, but I realize that whenever I invite you any place that I'm being honored, you have an excuse. Is that what I'm seeing? And I want you to answer me. And if you know that I'm coming from a good place, I expect you to answer. And if you can answer or give me an answer that I can feel in my spirit that is right, I know that our friendship is not going to be the same. And I have no problem doing that.
I love that. Tell me, what was your word last year? I remember. Well, go ahead.
Last year it was authentic.
Yeah, being your authentic self.
Yes.
Yeah.
So every year, I think the first year was tell the truth. Be truthful, and then be authentic. And this year is bold, and I've had to do some bold moves, including just shedding some people that I thought were friends, but they really, really weren't friends.
Okay, so let's see here. Adversities, kind of the same thing. How do you handle the many obstacles that come before you, be it personally or professionally? How do you, and I'm gonna, because I know a little of your story.
Yeah. So,
how do you reinvent yourself when you see that there's a block?
It's difficult,
Mm-hmm.
but I have, to Margaret's point, I've learned to shed, right, and I've learned to organize, and I've said that before.
Oh,
but
stop a second. Can I talk about your organization? I'm sorry, people. I know I'm stepping on her, but when I tell you, I went to her house. There's a couple of whiteboards with schedules, stuff sunk into her calendar. Her husband knows that before he could do anything, he has to come, Mother, may I? Is that available? Okay, thank you. She runs it tight ship, so yes.
I run my home like a business.
You that kidding.
And I've learned that if I'm not organized, then I can't show up and be my true self, right? But I use it. It's not black and white. I use it as a tool. It's it helps me to function, but it helps me to be there in the moment, right? So when I have my family and my family knows that this is what we're doing today, we all show up because we know this is what's happening. So I organize my personal life, I organize my professional life in that manner. And I find that control for me has worked, right? When it goes sideways, it goes sideways, right?
I know.
And I have to, in that space, I have to know that I am no longer in control, and that is okay.
Because you're raising a mini you, but we get back to you. So tell me, how does that work for you?
I'm the queen of pivots.
And that's important.
Yeah,
too.
I have been put up against many difficult situations in life, personally, with my family, at different jobs that I've had. And it is about the pivot. If I cannot pivot in that moment, figure something else out in that moment, I'm constantly thinking about plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, maybe sometimes H, because there always needs to be a backup plan. And so I'll usually have them in my head.
So you're running
I don't make
scenarios.
the list, but it's there. And if I have to pivot, the pivot happens.
So you're running scenarios
Yeah,
constantly.
absolutely.
I
always.
live like that.
Yeah.
Margaret, I have a different question for you. After all of these lessons that you've experienced in your life, how do you pass on your nuggets of wisdom to your children, your grandchildren? You know,
That's interesting. So, most recently, I've become extremely close with my daughter. She's 33 years old, but she is thanking me every single day for the nuggets that I've given to her. There are times when I am tempted to say what she should do. Instead, I ask questions. And this is coming from a Living Leader program that I did, honestly, where it says instead of telling her what to do, give her scenarios. So I give scenarios knowing what the answers are going to be. Right. And I do the same with my granddaughter, who's only 2.5, but I give her scenarios. So tell me why you're upset. She has no clue what I'm asking, but she's telling me a story and I'm listening. So I think my strength is asking the right questions and providing leading answers as opposed to giving the answers. And that was me years ago. I'd be like, you should do this, that. But my life speaks for itself. She sees how I pivot. She sees that I don't get crazy when something goes wrong. Instead, I'm like, I'm a prayer warrior, not the openly loud, boisterous, but in my house, I pray. And if there's a situation, my sister told me, you don't take a broken car to a mechanic and go back for the car before it's fixed. You leave it there until it's fixed. And so that's what I do. When I have problems that I can solve, I give it to God and I move on to plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, and say, just order my steps, God. Because Margaret, no matter how guru I think I am, I can't handle this one. So that's
so I wish I had more time, but I'm going to forge with this in a few words. What makes you fearless?
My faith makes me fearless. When I could completely trust and let go, it's a freeing opportunity for me. And I let go often.
Have to. What makes you fearless?
I'm a weird girl. And I've always been weird and I know it. And that has made me fearless because I'm always a little bit different than everybody else around me.
You've embraced it.
I've embraced it.
What makes you fearless?
I think it's just my spirit of joy. I think I'm a joyful person and I want to say I exude joy because in the midst of adversity, in the midst of hell, and I've seen some hell, in the midst of that, I keep on going and I get better each time. Not by my strength, not in my strength, but I see where that's the joy, and it's the joy of the Lord.
That's right.
It's not
so we have faith, quirkiness, and joy.
Yeah.
Ladies, would you come back another time for us to consider this conversation?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I mean, literally, fierce, fabulous, and fearless. And the theme here is what lies within that gives you the strength to move forward. We'll be right back to Rosie Talks Life.
Babe, where's the pepper sauce? Thank you. Yeah, man. All pepper sauce. No other heat will do.
Hall's pepper sauce can be purchased at Sam's Caribbean Marketplace, located at 225 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead, or purchased online at sams247.com. Welcome back again to another segment of Rosie Talks Live. I have another dynamic songbird with me, somebody who goes back to childhood. I'm really a blessed woman, I swear. I know some serious heavy hitters here. I have Vanessa Layne with me, all the way from Barbados. Little jealous, but we will get over that. But before we start chatting, let's listen because we have the privilege of a sneak peek, right? Of
That's
her
right.
new single, her new cut, which is Take a Chance.
Why are we always misunderstanding? Why are insecurities getting in the way? I have been sent this gift down from heaven, but I still keep pushing you away. One's heart is such an amazing jewel, so full of love. Sometimes it's on shutdown, but then I rise above. Take chances on love. Love is limited time on earth.
Let me tell you something. I'm here grooving and he stopped the music, but I realized we're about the business. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks.
So much to catch up on, but I'm
Mhm.
going to try and let us get to it. First
Yeah,
of all,
okay.
when you dropped the other single, Can't Make You Love Me, had
Ah.
me in my feelings playing it on rotation. So much so that I even made a little video, not realizing that you had your professional video done. Well done.
No.
Well done.
Thank you,
Congratulations. Um,
Bless you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. So, Vanessa, we go back forever. I think of your
Yeah.
grandmother sitting in church
Yeah.
next to my mother. I mean, we go
Yeah.
back,
Way back.
way back,
Yep.
way back.
High school.
I know. Before high school, I'm thinking Auntie Kirby, but we'll move on from
Oh
that.
yeah, well that too. Oh my gosh.
I
Auntie
know.
Kirby.
So
okay.
let's not age
Yeah, yeah,
ourselves.
yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
I don't know how come I didn't realize that you used to sing. We were in school together. I mean, how is that possible?
Because you were so busy on stage yourself performing,
Okay,
my
stop putting
darling,
my
that we
business
were
out there.
all
So let me bring you
mesmerized
back.
by you.
Okay, we're gonna stop. So tell me why
Okay.
now, after 30 years of picking it up, why does the
Okay.
songbird sing now?
So truly, I'm ashamed to say I at 21 I was supposed to do this, and
Mhm.
I just tucked this away, and life took over, being a wife, being a mother.
Yes.
Recently during COVID, I was looking after my dad and my mom. They were up here, and all of a sudden, everyone left. My son was off to school. My
Right.
parents went back to Simonson, and I sat there and I said, okay, what is Vanessa like? Who am I?
Right.
I was completely at a loss for what made my life happy and joyous. And all of a sudden I started listening to music a lot, because that also got out of my life a bit, which is strange because that's such a part of me. And then I said, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. But not wanting to do it for the public, I just went home to St. Vincent and I was like, Mark Cyrus, who's
Right,
the
of
producer,
course.
I said, I want to come in and I want to sing a song in the studio with you alone. This is just for me. This is something I need to fill my spirit up with. And that was actually the plan.
But that was the
And,
beginning of a different trajectory.
Correct. And the trajectory honestly came about because of friends and family who heard it and said, Vanessa, stop hiding. Like, send it out there. What do you have to lose? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't. That wasn't the intention, but God has a plan, right? And what I loved was how organically it unfolded. And I have tried to stay true to that, in that, Rosie, I am so, by the way, I thank everyone that supports me. That for me is like a world of everything. But the joy in this is just going and singing in the studio and putting it out there, like, and having the bravery, I guess,
Right.
to do that, because that's the support of friends and family, honest to God.
I want
So
to kind of
that's how.
interject something that you don't even know. I saw
Okay.
your interview with that gentleman in
Oh,
Barbados.
Vic Fernand.
Yes. That's Vic Fernand?
Yes. Yeah.
Stop
Can you
it.
imagine? He's still at it. Yeah, that's Vic, man. That's our boy.
Wow. That's awesome. And you talked about taking a chance on yourself.
Yeah.
And it hit me in my core. And you're the
Mhm.
reason that started this show back.
Oh God!
You
Oh,
don't
you
know
see, you're
that.
giving me goosebumps. You
You
see?
have no
Now you
idea.
see,
And I
but
thank you for
that
that because
oh
I didn't want to be out there again. I don't mind. I love talking to people and I love people. But there comes a point when we pull inwards
yeah.
and God speaks to us. And when I heard
Yeah.
you say that, I said, I'm going to take a chance on Rosie. So thank you.
Well, honestly, if that was all that came out of any of this, that for me means more than anything in the world. And bless you for saying
No,
that
and
because
bless you for doing because you are meant to be doing this. Let us not stop at the love fest. Okay.
okay.
So,
I love.
because the time is ticking,
Yeah.
what
Go
would
on,
you
go on, go on.
tell your 22-year-old self, knowing the things that you know now?
Okay, in terms of if I should have pursued
Just anything.
music then,
Anything.
you know, I think in life every stage has a purpose,
Yes.
and we grow, as we all know, in different stages. And I think back then I did what I could only manage then, and without the wisdom with years and without I'm trying to get to that point. I think it's Margaret who said where maturity, she's become fearless, and through faith in the earlier segment you had. I still live in fear, and for that 22-year-old, I just think she had to do what she did then because that was the stage she was at.
And brought you to this point, right?
Correct. And that's it. I just think it's all a sequence of life and its events. But I guess in anyone's outlook, if you have to be positive no matter what.
Absolutely.
You have to know that, there's a plan for us, and stay positive and put that out there, because I still believe in karma. I still believe in what you put out comes back to you.
100%.
So I don't know other than that.
I want to, and I keep
You know what I
stepping in
mean?
on you, and I apologize, but
No,
what
go for it.
I want to just convey to you is that you give many people hope. You're a joyful spirit. You're an authentic spirit, and in doing so, you allow us to see your journey, and in doing so, you are inspiring many. So I truly want to also big up to Mark Cyrus. I mean, because I think of how talented that guy is, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan of even when he was doing music with the late DJ Nigel Herbert. So
that's right.
Right. So I realized that you guys are going to continue doing great things. Tell us really quickly, because then we're going to have a little clip of my favorite song that I want to keep. My son sings it in the car. I'm playing it a lot. Where can we get your music?
Oh, so you can go to, it's on all platforms from YouTube to Apple Music to Spotify.
Okay.
But it's on Vanessa Layne Music.
That's right, Vanessa Layne Music. I'll make sure that I have that there for you and for everyone to see that. And thank you for giving us that little sneak peek. You are incredible.
My pleasure.
And very
God
talented.
bless you.
And even that little file that I'm not even saying that you shared, that you and I were all the one that you shared. Excellent. I love it. That's an old school jammy. Would we be able to play that out? The Can't Make You Love Me. So again, everyone, this is Vanessa Layne. You could get her music at Vanessa Layne Music. There is coming up really soon. Take a Chance is going to be coming out later on this year. Thank you for giving us a sneak peek to that. And we're going to go out with Can't Make You Love Me. I just want to thank you for joining me, thanking everyone out there for joining Rosie Talks Life. Oh, this song's going to make me cry.
I know. Rosie, keep doing what you're doing. Believe in yourself always. You're amazing and you're a gift. We love you.
God bless you.
No.
Thank
you too. Mwah. Bye.
Have you ever felt all alone. Look in the mirror, still far from home. In so much pain that it's hard to breathe. No, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. See, I know how it feels when you can't seem to stop the pain. You can cry a whole river, the sun won't even stop the rain. No.